You either pick the nice rooms or location. You gotta choose. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't read the title of this video, then I'm gonna be doing a kind of Spelman's Freshman Dorms Part 2 because a lot of my Spelman sisters who are coming to Spelman next year were asking me what is the difference between the 4 Spelman dorms. So I wanted to help you guys decide which dorm to choose by the pros and cons of each dorm. The first dorm that I want to mention is the best one, Dorothy Shepherd Manley Hall, and it's the dorm that I stayed in my freshman year, and it's the best freshman dorm in my opinion. So first, the pros of the dorm is that it's closest to the front gate, which means a lot of different things. Number one, if you're coming back late at night or from a party, like, it's not that long of a walk to your dorm. Like, it's the closest. Number two, if you get food and stuff delivered or you have an Uber, like, you can basically wait in your dorm for the Uber, and then when it says it's outside, you could, like, it just takes like a minute or two to walk to the front gate. And then also, if you have visitors, all of that, it's just closer to the front gate. It makes everything much easier. It's also close to some of the important academic buildings like Cosby. There's a lot of different things and events in Cosby, so it's really close to that. Also, it's close to the shuttle stop to the library, so you won't have to walk that far to get there. It's just a great location. Like, other than being close to the front gate, it's also close to the cafeteria. It's close to the Manley College Center, which is our student center, where they have most of the events and everything. It's close to where Market Friday is hosted, which is lower Manley, and it's close to the cafeteria, the Manley atrium, all of that. And also, you can see everything from Manley Hall. So, like, if there's something going on outside the dorm, you can look out the window and see everything. You can look out the window and see literally Market Friday and see what's going on over there and everything without even leaving your dorm. So it's a really good location, and that's what I think I like the best about staying in Manley. And yeah, so for the cons, I didn't have that long of a list because I just love Manley, but one of the cons is definitely that it's no AC. It gets pretty hot, especially in the beginning of the school year, and once it gets hot, like in the spring semester. It being in the middle of everything is a pro and a con, I would say, because sometimes it gets really loud outside. Like, it's on the main street to come into Spelman. So sometimes it gets really loud outside, and even if you close your window, which you don't want to because it's so hot in the dorm, it's like just people outside screaming, and just, you can't get really quiet. It can't get quiet. And then the last con I wrote is that it's a long walk to the Science Center. So if you're a STEM major, that might be something that you want to consider. The Science Center is where a lot of the STEM classes are held specifically. It took me about like maybe 7 minutes to walk to the Science Center, which you might not think is bad because Spelman's campus is so small that that's probably the longest walk you'll have to take if your class is on campus. But I could leave my dorm for a class in Cosby at, like, if the class was at 10 a.m., I could leave at 9:58 and get there on time. Like, that's how close it was. But that just gives you something to think about if you're a STEM major. So yeah, that's all I have for pros and cons for Manley. The next dorm that I want to talk about is HH, which is Harreld Hall. This is the largest dorm. This is the largest freshman dorm on campus, and it's located right next to Manley. So it's also in a pretty good location. It's right across from the Manley College Center, which is different from the Manley dorm. And that's where the cafeteria is and most of our events are, so it's still in a good location. It's right across from McVicker, which is our health building, so you could go in there just to see a doctor and different things. It's right across from that, so that's a pro. And much like Manley, you know, if you come back late, it's not a far walk from the front gate. It's not that hard to get things delivered. It's literally like a straight walk from the front gate. So that means it's pretty convenient. Yeah, it's a big dorm. I'll say that's a pro because you can make more connections with the girls that you live with. But that also can be a con if you're not the type of person that gets along with a lot of people, or you don't like being surrounded by a lot of people, then that might not be the dorm for you. The setup, oh, I forgot to mention the setup. So HH and Manley have pretty much the same setup. It's just HH is bigger, but there's doubles, there's singles, there's triples, and there's quads. I don't know how many, but most of the rooms are doubles, and they have the divided and the open room. So I would say that Manley and HH are probably in the best location out of the 4 dorms. So now moving on to the cons. Like I said, it's a bigger dorm, so that means it's going to be some more people, you know, that you're going to have to deal with in the community bathrooms or different things you're going to have to deal with that you wouldn't necessarily have to if you were in a, you know, with less people. So another con is that, you know, it can get loud in the dorm, especially with what's going on outside. If you have your windows open, it might be hard because it gets loud or whatever. And then lastly, I said the AC once again. No AC, so that just has to be something that most of us, or most of you guys, are going to just have to get used to, because 3 out of 4 of the dorms don't have AC in the rooms. So, yeah. So, the next dorm is Abbey, which is Abbey Aldrich Rockefeller Hall. And this is the smallest dorm of all the freshman dorms. So, for pros, I said that Abbey is most recently renovated. So, the rooms are nice, and you also can, like, raise the beds up, which is really cool. So they get really high, and you can like put a lot of stuff under the beds because of how high they get. Their rooms are pretty spacious. Like, they're really all of them are open. Like, there's no divideds in Abbey. All of them are open, but the rooms are pretty big, so there's room to decorate it really nice because it's renovated. Another thing about Abbey, it has the little, you know, it has cute little things in the dorm that other dorms don't have because it was renovated. For example, it has a little dry erase wall around the doors of each room, and the community bathrooms are nicer because it was the most recently updated. There is a card reader at the front door, so you don't have to use your key to get into the front door. You just use your ID and put it up to the little reader machine, which is kind of cool. None of the other dorms have that. Also, I believe it's closest to the Science Center, so like it's kind of away from all the other dorms, but for the Science Center, it's like right here, and you just go a straight walk down the sidewalk to get to the Science Center, which is kind of cool. It's also close to Giles, which is another academic building, which you may have a few classes in. So yeah, it's convenient to those things. So that's the pros for Abbey. Now let's move into the cons. So the cons is, once again, there's no AC. It's far from most of the other buildings. So like the cafeteria, you're gonna have to walk a little bit. All the other freshman dorms, you're gonna have to walk a little bit to get to them. it's close. I mean, it's far away from everything pretty much, except for Giles. Okay, so you either pick the nice rooms or a location. You gotta choose. But anyway, and Manley wasn't that bad rooms. Like, the rooms weren't that bad. But if you're into that, go ahead, go to Abbey. Anyway, so that's one of the cons, that is far away. It's also far away from the front gate. So if you go to a party, if you getting food delivered, sometimes the people at the front, the gate, will let the people in to drive around to Abbey, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes you have to take that hike from the front gate all the way back to Abbey, which is a pretty steep walk compared to all the other dorms. Another con is that there's no kitchen. So Abbey is the only freshman dorm with no actual kitchen. Yes, they have microwaves, but that's it. Like, there's no stove, there's no oven, because when they renovated, they didn't have the something. When they renovated, they had to cut back or something because the power surge would be too much. I don't know, something like that. But anyway, the two renovated dorms on campus, which is Abbey and one of the upperclassmen dorms, they both don't have kitchens for that reason. So if you want to cook, you're not going to be able to really do that in Abbey unless it's a meal you can cook in a microwave. So that's something to think about also. And yeah, that's all for Abbey Hall. And now moving on to the last one, which is LLC1. So LLC1 stands for Living and Learning Center 1. There's also a Living and Learning Center 2, but that is an upperclassman hall. A pro is that, I guess, I don't know if this is a pro, but this is the Honors and Bonner Scholar dorm. And a pro is that it's the only freshman dorm with AC. So if you think you cannot live without having AC, then this is the dorm for you. So like I said, it's the Honors and Bonner Scholar dorm, but I think that if you're not in one of those programs, you can still have a chance of living in that dorm. Another pro is that it's pretty nice. Some people say it looks like a hotel inside. It's pretty big. Like, when you go to each floor, there's different hallways going down, so you have a bit better chance of making a connection with the girls in your hallway, and that you share like a little lounge with or whatever. Also, this is the only freshman dorm with the elevator. So we hadn't mentioned elevators this whole time, but yeah, LLC1 has an elevator and the rest of the dorms don't. So that means if you live on the 3rd floor in Manley, you're gonna have to walk 3 flights of stairs with all your stuff to move in. Also, you're gonna have to haul all your stuff up and down the stairs for laundry day. But if you live in LLC1, you have an elevator, so you won't necessarily have to always take the stairs. But it's pretty close to the Science Center. It's also it's the closest to the Wellness Center. So the Wellness Center is like our gym. If you like to work out, it's pretty close to that. And yeah, and it's also in a not so bad location. That's the pros for LLC1. The cons for LLC1 is that, one, it's far from some of the important academic buildings that you may have a lot of your classes in, like Cosby and Giles. So that's something to think about. 2, it's kind of far from the front gate. Like, yeah, it's a straight shot. Like, when you come from the front gate, you just have to walk down this long sidewalk. But like I said, the sidewalk is long. So you pick and choose, I guess. My third con is that the rooms are pretty small compared to the other dorms. I think LLC1 has the smallest rooms. I think they have all doubles and maybe a few singles, but their rooms are, and their closets are probably the smallest. So that's something to consider if you have a lot of stuff, if you have a lot of clothes. Yeah, definitely consider that. The next thing I wrote is that upperclassmen do live in this dorm. So I don't know if they mix or they try to keep all the freshmen together as roommates and all the upperclassmen together as roommates, but there is a potential that you might have an upperclassman on your hall, or you might have an upperclassman as your roommate. By upperclassmen, I usually mean a sophomore. Juniors and seniors, you know, they usually don't live in LLC1. But yeah, that is a possibility. And you can look at, I don't know if you look at this as a con, but I put it under the con category because there's just a lot of experiences that freshmen have, you know, that you might want to relate to with your roommate and go through with your roommate, which you won't be able to do if they're a sophomore. So now that I'm done going through all of the dorms, I'm going to start comparing the dorms and, like, you know, comparing which one might be a better option for you. So these are things to consider when you're choosing which dorm you want to live in. Manley and HH have the closest style of rooms. So they look pretty much identical inside, but HH is bigger than Manley, like I said earlier. So that's something to consider. You know yourself. Are you more of a outgoing, like to talk to people person? You might want to choose HH. If you're kind of in the middle, you might want to choose Manley. If you want to be in that location area and you want to, you know, choose one of those dorms, that might be what separates one dorm from another. Like I said, Abby is the smallest of all the dorms. That means that it's more quiet inside, and the freshmen in that dorm are usually more close-knit, like a family, because it's so small amount of them. This can be a pro and a con. If you're more of a quiet, like introverted person, then this might be the dorm for you. If you live in a bigger dorm like LLC1 or HH, you might only be able to make a connection with the girls on your hall or nearby your room. So like your neighbors, basically. Where if you live in Abbey, you might be able to make a connection with more people and, you know, be more close-knit to those people that you meet. Also, I wanted to mention that HH and Manley have triples and quads. This means that you may be placed in a room that has 3 or 4 people. So when you're thinking about this, like, don't worry if you don't, you know, if you get placed in one of those rooms, because those rooms are in the basement and they're usually significantly bigger than the other dorm, like the other rooms. So that's not necessarily something to worry about, but I just wanted to mention that because that is a possibility of where you might get placed. The last thing I wanted to mention is something that they all have. So all the dorms have these. They all have hair rooms. So rooms for you to do your hair. So with a chair, with the sink, and some of them have dryers. The dryers in Manley didn't work this year, but who knows, they might work next year. And yeah, so they all have that. They all have community bathrooms. So you're gonna have to share a bathroom with the people on your hall. That's just the way it is. And they all have microwaves. So like I said, Abby doesn't really have a kitchen per se, but they all have designated kitchen areas where you can cook your food, where you can warm it up, or yeah, where you can store your food in the refrigerator. They all have lounges. So like Manley has a lounge, HH has a lounge. I think LLC has a lounge on like every floor. and Abby has a lounge. So they all also have community fridges. If you want to have your own fridge, you're gonna have to put in a form request for you to have a fridge in your room. It's not likely that many people will have a fridge in their room, and so everybody's gonna have to use the community fridge if you want to have like cold things. So keep that in mind. My last category is advice. Well, I think I'm gonna save advice for the next video. If you want to hear my advice for housing as a freshman, then look out for my next video. Make sure you subscribe because it's going to be great content that you don't want to miss. So, with that being said, thank you for watching my video. If you got to the end, I really appreciate it. I hope this was helpful. Give me a thumbs up if you think this video was helpful. Let me know what else you want me to make, and I'll see you guys next time.